Hi everyone, my name is Ruth Dube and you are listening to The Influence, brought to you by Ikasi Creative and Cape Conscious Media. This is episode 6 or 7, I think. I hope you guys have been following along. Before we start this podcast, I would like to just take a second and send my condolences to the families of Matthew Kutsia and Shahida Joost. They both passed away about 2 weeks ago and were part of the Ikasi family. It's a really devastating loss, so I just want to take a second to commemorate them and sort of think about them and just be grateful for the life that they did have while they were with us. Today we are in studio with DJ and musician extraordinaire Songo Ananda. Hi.
Hello.
Songo, yeah.
Oh my days.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. Just like really calm, chilling.
Yeah.
Just cold.
It's freezing.
Like freezing.
Like very.
Freezing.
Songo, how long have you been a musician in Cape Town or in general? Actually?
I've been a musician for about 5 years. 6 if you include DJing. I think I do include DJing as like being a musician in its own like right. So music industry 6 years, musician 4.5, 5.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been doing that for a while.
And is this, DJing and singing, songwriting?
And producing, yeah. So it's just like a mixture of everything that I've grown connected to over the last couple of years, but it's something that like I've always been connected to my whole life. So maybe I've just been like a singer my whole life or like a musician undercover my whole life.
Yeah.
But in terms of me making the active choice, it's been 5 years.
And how does it feel? Because where did you start with music? Was it something you found one day and then you were like, okay, I'm going to do this? Or like, how does that start for you? Just being like, I'm a musician now.
Oh, so basically it started as like me growing up in a household that like was really driven around music. My mom sang a lot. I loved singing too. Like it was one of my favorite things to do. And having that be something that I could not like really further along myself. And then I was always interested in like music lessons that the kids were doing, and I wasn't like a part of them. But when I did have a moment with an instrument, I would like play around with it, no matter what it was. But the thing that like rang true was like I've always like written from like songs, poems. So that's like been like the main thing. And I've always sang too. So just growing up as someone who sang and like was really, you know, woven into like that path without it being something that starkly said that it's something that like I'm being like worshipped for in a sense. But I did know that I was something I was good at, but I was also good with my words. So me loving that and then following that instinct and then also like having singing being one of the first things I wanted to do, it just like later catapulted me into where I am now. But I am someone who was like a late bloomer in terms of their musicality and getting into touch with that. But I think because it has always been something that's like colored my life, it became something very innate to like do. Which is why when I was like 20, I was like, okay, this is something that I'm pursuing and going toward and making that conscious effort and decision because it's something that I've wanted to do for such a long time. And it's something that I think was distinctly just innately good at my whole life. And I think I just understand music deeply through being someone who's a conscious listener of music like my entire life.
Who are the artists that have, like, who is the artist that inspired you in terms of musicality and like connecting with your roots in music and feeling like, oh, like this song is, you know, something that I want to take further or something that I feel like empowered by almost as a musician?
I really wouldn't say that like I have any of those, but more so just like these like dawning moments in time about like what music can do when you like meet an artist through their songs or like through their music, literally, and you continue to meet them afterwards, but then there's this one defining time where, you know, you meet an artist for the first time through their music and you are completely like moved that this is what music can actually sound like. And it's almost like what you've been looking for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that happened for me when I was like 15, and I listened to Z by SZA. And that was like my first time listening to SZA. It just opened up like a whole world of like, this is what music can sound like. I think that with that one specifically, it was like this this growth in my brain of like understanding how deeply touching the specific form of art is to me, and like just knowing that it's possible to create something of like that beauty from like the beginning and the budding of your career was something that like I was like I came to understand later on, but during that time it just like ruffled something new in me, exploring music, understanding what I like, what I listen out for, all of my varied tastes, the kinds of singing styles I liked, and what made me want to sing more, what writing made me want to like listen more and like write more. And I think just like any teenager, you go into everything like curious, and then it's either you follow it or you don't. And I think this music is like the one thing that like I followed and chose over and over again in like every point in time in my life, no matter how it looked, whether it was just listening for those couple of years of music, or if it was creating, or if it was like being curious, or if it was writing, just making sure that like something felt fed in that. But that was like the dawning moment of like knowing that I can be a bit more textured in like depth, and like coming from a place of like poetry and understanding how like words can affect and like change you and like fundamentally change how you view something for like forever. And like also feeling that then and feeling it now in completely different shoes was like the thing that I always wanted to make sure that like I brought out in terms of my own music and in terms of the music that I write. Like there has to be that honesty and that truth that I heard for the first time when I was like 15, and I was like black girl who's like growing up, and my eyes just like opened up to like a different world inside of like what music can be. So like just following that kind of curiosity that like I had then, and the kind of curiosity she had was like the blueprint almost of like how I can go about my art going forward. So
I love that, and I love how much you're honoring yourself in making your music. I think that there is an honesty, like an art of honesty, that we've lost in music. People aren't really singing about not necessarily themselves, but feeling anymore, and feeling that we've all really kind of been through. And I've only heard snippets of it, but I think your song Nirvana is Calling is something, if I'm not wrong, is something that's connected to that, like making songs about feeling and being honest about that kind of, this is what I'm going through, or this is how I'm feeling now, basically. So now that you're kind of establishing yourself as a musician, you've come up with this event called GIDA. And I want to know more about it. We were speaking kind of off camera about the culture of going out in Cape Town and how sort of scary that can be, because a lot of it is like male dominated spaces. There isn't a lot of space for black women to go out and feel comfortable like dancing, and not just like dancing like shaking ass, but like dancing like we're able to express ourselves and sort of feel like, okay, I have the space to be free. I can dance, I can party. Tell me more about that.
I think with GIDA, it just came from an appreciation of music, and just not having space to fully encompass myself. Coming from a place like Johannesburg and being able to thrive as a black person, and having spaces that are beautiful and dazzling in experience and are textured and cultured as a black person, I think is something that like I really missed, which I could take along with me, because that was like me growing in my identity as like a person and finding my personhood in a city like that, and like succeeding in that, and succeeding in my DJing world, and the people I was meeting, the connections I was creating. I think I took for granted how much space I was afforded there, and I wanted to be able to take that into the community here in Cape Town, specifically so that we know that we can rely on each other and lean on each other as like queer people, people of color, in order to create this like utopic world where in the city that's like so like marred with a lot of, you know, tensions.
Yeah, a lot of
a lot of racial tensions. We're able to like fully take a step back and know that there's a space for like us to celebrate too, because all of the other spaces that have been created are all in the name of making like someone else more comfortable than I am, and more valued in that way, and just creating a safe space where it's like there's this like level of joy that exists for queer people and like people of color, I think was something that was very important. But then also like sharing something that I love, because all of my greatest memories with music came from music that was shared with me, you know, whether it was I was a kid growing up, finding it through like different parties, finding it for myself. At the end of the day, the act of it being shared is the reason why I found it.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was able to like grow. And I think giving people the chance to find something that is so innately South African, number one, almost be brought into our world, number two, as people of color, also been brought into our world as this place of like having community, was important. And also having this like Afrocentric or Afrofuturist like take on what raving culture can be like and can look like through our lens was like really important, to just make everyone feel included, so that we're not the ones now always going into other people's territory or like space. Other people are coming into ours to experience it the same way that we do in reverse, without this feeling of being shrunken.
Yes.
So I think that was like the main reason. And also like being someone who is a DJ and a selector and like who's done this for like 6 years and whatnot, I know what is out there. I think I've gone to too many parties, if I'm being honest.
Like kind of enough now.
No, it will never be enough. I think there's a reason why I'm in this specific industry, and in all of the ways in which that like I'm a part of it. I think that I time and time again have shown myself that the reason why I've been graced with like certain capabilities is to move certain things forward, whether it's through my own art or whether it is through sharing something. But I think the thing that I really wanted the most out of like GIDA is like community, and a place where we get to connect with our varied interests and like create like a network of people that are of us and are like us, where it doesn't feel so isolated, because I feel like that's maybe the vibe that Cape Town people have been under.
Very cliquey.
I don't even think cliquey. I just think like there's this understanding of like of your own, and I feel like a lot of people want the other, and being able to be a space that gives them the connection to like the other, and also just like uncharted territory, because I feel like dancing is so natural to the body and natural to like healing and growing, and just like knowing yourself and building confidence, that like it's so, I don't know why it's not pedestalized as much as it should be within our city specifically. And that importance and the drive towards like showing that there is a culture to make that happen, and where you can be safe and you engage with your body in certain ways and you move and you allow yourself to like be taken, I think is something really sacred, and it just reconnects us to like the roots of being people who thrive through dancing. And that's been a practice that's been like done for like a really long time in all of our cultures, and allowing that to be something that we can also celebrate out there without feeling it needing to be like sheltered. So yeah, and it's also just a study of human beings and like what it is that they like.
Yeah.
And also just understanding that sociologically there's so much that's changing.
Yes, all the time.
And really getting along with that. And how to make this world like to be like a bit of a better place.
Yeah, a better united.
Yeah,
place.
like there's so much that's gonna happen through Eurydice, and not just GIDA, like just Eurydice. I think we have a very clear vision of intention of like where it is that we want to grow people, not just ourselves, but like just like, you know, the kinfolk. And I think that's what's something that like we're really, really proud and excited to get to do.
Can you explain what Eurydice, because it's Eurydice's Music Saves, hey?
It's just Eurydice.
Just Eurydice.
Yeah, Music Saves is a like banner.
Okay. Okay, nice. Like the log line.
It's like the
Nice.
it's like the tagline. Music saves. So Eurydice is my business with Tati Soul Choke, and basically it is like a femme black owned social responsibility agency, and also experiential event coordination. Like at the forefront of everything. But the way in which it is that we're doing this whole situation is like allowing people and artists and businesses to use Eurydice as a bridge to open up new pathways in terms of like how to like help socially develop the music scene in Cape Town specifically throughout, and really giving voices to like the underrepresented people, and help like bridge the gap within the context of not just music, just creative industry. I think the main thing for us is like when we say music saves, we're literally like meaning it literally. Like there's a way for this mode of art to like give purpose to you, your life, and we want to be able to like give that to other people through means of like opportunities and teaching and educating them through these like forms, which is obviously just music, DJing, production, all of those things. So our main thing is like literally using the tale and the mythology of Orpheus and Eurydice as like something quite literal, because obviously Orpheus and Eurydice were in the forest, they were down to get married, then Eurydice got bitten by a snake. She went into the underworld. Orpheus was crying for a couple of days and hitched a plan of going to the underworld to save her through using music, which, because he was the most talented person who played the lyre, he was able to like woo the guard dogs. They went to sleep. Sisyphus stopped moving his rock up a mountain. Persephone and Hades cried, and they were like, yes, just one thing is like, don't look back. So it's almost like a retelling of that, of like trusting that your music saves.
Oh my God, that's
because
beautiful.
at the final moment, he does look back, even though his music is what got him to like save the one love of his life. So it's like an ode to that story, and an ode to like Eurydice telling Orpheus that like, don't look back, like music does save, like just
in that.
take me to like the other side almost. So we named it Eurydice because of that tale, because also like Eurydice is a feminine archetype, and music is like the main like source of like, you know, everything, or like sound, and the only place without sound again is like your ovaries, like the most quiet place in the world. So also playing into that of like, you can't hear anything, but it's like this like world of nothingness, and you come out into the world and it's like you filled with sound. So that's what we were like also like playing into with like regards to like the whole business in and of itself. It's almost like a rebirthing, specifically within music, and also like social development, specifically, and how music can be a tool for like that. Furthering like the economy and also just the creative industries that exist within the context of South Africa, and how we can like disperse that amongst like specifically people of color and queer people, so that they have a leg up when they do get to the specific space that they need to get to.
Dude, I love that. And I also love that you said experiential. Like, this isn't just us going out to have fun. Like, and of course we are going out to have fun. But I think for me, I've always experienced sometimes going out can kind of be life-changing. Like, sometimes I go out and I'm like, I'm not depressed anymore. Like, that was the best thing I've ever gone to. And I think you doing that, especially in terms of genre mixing, because I feel like a lot of the time Black women are very boxed in, and there isn't a lot of space for us to play around with genre mixing, especially in terms of using an African sound like boom and how you use that, and then using that in rave culture, which is kind of sort of historically and socially a more white person thing, which is obviously what you're trying to
dismantle
go against. Exactly. So what inspired you to kind of mix those genres? What sounds did you hear that you were like, that would actually go together?
Yeah. It's not even about like it going together. It's more so about platforming boom as a rave genre, because like obviously raves are like textured in different ways. Like, you know, like there's different. Sorry for my nose is itching.
It's okay.
It's textured in different ways, and in terms of like the history of raving and like rave culture, it comes from Black people, and it comes from these movements in Detroit where techno was created and started. All of these people were pioneers of all of these sounds that are now included in like specifically white dominant places and spaces. All of that was like basically taken and pillaged and made for like capital gain, when it was actually a form of art used specifically to dance in that specific kind of way, by a specific demographic who popularized it, pioneered it, created it, and then it obviously spread like wildfire. So all of these genres, even drum and bass and jungle, these are all coming from like textures of like people of color who are also taking from like why drums were such a big thing in America. Like people used to like literally criminalize the use of drums because apparently it was a form of communication.
Oh, for sure. Especially so because they were the beginning of the descendants that were just coming from Africa as well. That's like a thing you remember. It's part of your culture. That's like calling on an ancestral feeling. Literally. Like, of course, if we're playing that music, we're going to heal as a community.
You get exactly what I mean. And the thing is like the frequencies of drums, if like they made right, literally does that. Literally.
Have you watched Sinners? Have you watched?
Yeah, I have.
You're basically...
like literally it does that. So I was like coming from so we were coming from a place of understanding that, number one, understanding like this is also like reclaiming that space of like, this is ours. And then also coming from a place like, this is a South African one that's also created from the same like thought processes and like same like thought pattern of like, drums are the main focus. And then on top of that, it was actually a thing that like people of color look out for drums specifically in music, and then other people look out for synths and I mean not synths, percussion. So those two together, it's like you're bound to come through and like give something that's like really irrevocable. But now like boom, being married with all of these genres that we're reclaiming back as ours in the space of South Africa, which is like the home of house music, or like the best house music. And then also like bringing over this whole thing from like Detroit into the sphere, but like understanding that this is like Black art in and of itself and its creation. And then bringing boom, which is also extremely Black. It's coming from like the townships. And it's created with different genres. It already has these subgenres within it, like that sound different, but like portray the same thing. It's like it deserves the same capacity that house music, techno music, and like in and of itself, because that's the only way that it can grow further, which is the reason why like now there's like go music that sounds like a bit like techno, because it's got a specific kind of sound. It's called EGM, which is like electronic go music. Which is like, so like there's so many ways in which this whole thing is textured. It deserves a platform that is just as big as like amapiano, as techno, as house music, as dance music, because it has that same like element of pioneering, same element of like creativity, and coming from a place that's like deeply like natural and innate in terms of like the power that it holds. Because I personally believe that gqom will be one of those genres that you will hear at raves until we're like old. The more it changes, the more it grows, the more people get onto it. I think it's gonna be like a techno of some sort. Amapiano has its own world, I feel, which I don't think is like a rave space world, but it's a dance music world. But gqom has this like ability to get into the rave space and like just take over in a different like beautiful and meaningful way.
It really is so spiritual.
It's very spiritual, and it's like it gets the people going and it gets people excited. And I think there's just something so beautiful that like there's this like knowing of like these specific drums or like these specific textures. When you hear it out, something in you just wants to like really like get down with it. And making that like the centerfold of rave culture, I think will do way more good than not. And it gives these kids from Durban, these kids from like like the opportunity to really be like stars and pioneers of something bigger than just themselves, because I personally believe it deserves a space just the same way like techno, house, 100%. And all of these like dance music genres have, if not even bigger, because there's just something so original about it that hasn't been like replicated or done before. So it deserves that. It deserves that.
It literally is like that. When you said that, especially from Durban, I just thought of, you know, the song 60 Seconds? Hello? Like, are you crazy? Why were we not thinking about this from when that song came out?
Literally.
Like, we're raving to that, and it's like, the similar sound for like 6 minutes, and
like,
we're like,
there's something so beautiful about it. And I think when people let go of this whole like darkness to the sound and like just allow themselves to move, because I think techno's also got like these darker like,
aspects.
There's so much liberation that can come from gqom, and if you realize how we ourselves like interact with it when we do go to parties with gqom is playing, it's so wild. I don't think like any other genre gets people going like that. It's like it's just so natural, like you can't help but. So that's like the main thing, and like cross our fingers one day like we get to take this somewhere further than just here, and somewhere further than just us, and create a new level of understanding of like pedestalizing South African like dance music genres, because even our Afro-tech is beautiful, like our house is beautiful, like all of it is just like really just top of the food chain, if I'm being honest.
No, genuinely.
So it's like giving the space to do that. And I do think that South Africa is going to become a place where specifically in Africa will be looked toward in the near future, in the creative industry and in the creative scene, because there's so much beauty in all of the different industries that people are a part of, and so much unique talent and capabilities. And I think our age group is going to be like this like breath of fresh air, and like this like renaissance kind of era, because the stuff that we've created at these ages that we're at is already like incredible. So beautiful, even if it's at like what you would what someone else would consider at a micro scale. That I'm excited to want to push that like forward. And I think even especially with like music, because I've always wanted someone to push me forward, I think allowing myself to also be the person who carries the answers and goes and seeks out the answers on behalf of like the people who will benefit from what it is that I do, or who I will help or aim to help from what I do, where they can like also push themselves forward. Because the only way for us to get to like this beautiful place where we reclaim like South African media even is like by pushing one another towards like our different avenues and our different dreams, and like not allowing people to cower and like be scared of these certain aspects that they can like embrace about themselves. And if GIDA, Eurydice can be a place where all of those relationships are facilitated, I think I would have done like a really good job in being a patron of my people and like the society that I live in, and making it some place where everyone can feel connected and found and like valued in those specific ways. So bringing all of these different aspects into like one world, I think is like the one thing I'm like really, really firm on, so that other people can also benefit and connect the dots through it. So that people can like really filter out what it is that they want to do. Because I do think genuinely that there's going to be something really beautiful to come in like 20 years of the kind of work, the quality of the work, the stories that we're going to tell, what we're going to have to say about this day and age. Because the place that we're at right now and what we've been witnessing artistically has been such a beautiful place, like in South Africa. And we're seeing that it's paying off internationally
for sure.
And we're seeing different sounds also paying off internationally, going global, and like different films, and you're seeing people like, apparently there was a guy from South Africa who won a thing at Cannes.
What?
Yeah, he won a film, like best film for a specific category in Cannes. Like things like that. Like people were like, there's something beautiful. Yeah, like, there's something very beautiful. And I'm not gonna lie, like from my peers, I've only like witnessed like beautiful things come out like from the people around us. Imagine like when we're all like 20 years down the line and like everyone decided to stick to their guns because we decided to build something for ourselves instead of like cower to like the system and like integrated certain ways of like tenacity and growth into these ways like all around us to create something bigger for ourselves, because the world is going to be in our hands at that point in time.
There's something so distinctly African about your perseverance that I really, really admire, because I think it reminds me of, like I keep saying, it's an ancient, like it's a spiritual thing, but it really is. I don't know how to describe I think the sense of, it's weird because I feel a sense of pride as if I did something incredible when I see that how much you're saying that GIDA was such a success, that it's like, because my people sort of got to celebrate in that way, it feels like I did as well. And I think we've all been sort of trying to heal this generational trauma in terms of especially going out, because when we were trying to party, especially during apartheid, that was not allowed. We were not allowed to congregate, to have fun, to dance, to listen to loud music. So I think that is sort of like a generational trauma that you're breaking and sort of healing by being able to make the space where we can all really come together and just enjoy ourselves, and it's not criminalized just because of who we are. So I think that's so important.
I think that's also the other thing is like it's liberation, you know, like at the end of the day. And even if it's in the most basic of ways, like, which is why we say again, music saves. It's like literally we're using this as a liberation tool and like literally wringing it dry. Literally, like we want to wring it like dry, we want it. Because also it's just time and time again proven to be something that helps the society more than like lets it down. I think time and time again, because it's done that, there's like different generations, different eras that like music informs, and like what kind of music informs that time, who was like hitting that time, what the messages that they were singing in that time. It's like it's the best message, and like it's the best tell of time also in terms of like the things that are being created. So literally like doing it from that point of view, but then also like understanding that when we congregate, like we're our most powerful and we're our most free and we're our most seen, I think is the beautiful part. And I think that like amongst everything, like here in Cape Town, I saw a need for people to let their guard down in those specific ways. And honestly, just being a vehicle to allow for that to happen and allowing that to be like a safe state and like safe place to do that is like the main, also the like one of the main drivers. But it is also like breaking a generational thing, because I do feel like we lose part of ourselves from like the people that come before us, because of the ways in which they see what it is that we're a part of and doing and whatnot. And I think also because of the general culture right now of like, you know, keeping everything so close to your chest and like having this fear.
Privacy culture.
Not even privacy culture, just feeling constrained.
Okay, like boxed.
Like you have to like, you know, guard yourself.
Yes,
with
unsafe.
Everything, which is fair and whatnot, but I think that in the places where you're supposed to be more, you're like the most free. I think we have the privilege of being a generation that can do that.
Yeah.
And I think we should use that to our advantage, which is also the reason why I was like, this is something very important, because there's nothing for us to be afraid of anymore. And we're not going to go back to what we think we're going to go back to. Like, as much as people are like terrified.
For sure, about the future.
You know, it's uncertain. We're in very weird times right now in the whole world. There's no ways that you can go back. You know, like the only reason why we're facing these things is to like really truly go forward. And being someone who wants to carve out that like new era and that, or help carve out that new era and new world, I think it's just like the only way to like help make sure that everyone else like who does engage with it also like feels or answers the call to liberate themselves and whatever it is that they see in their world needs changing and help everyone else. But I think that like the whole congregating thing is just celebration, man, because it's also like us celebrating having not been able to even through lockdown.
Literally, you know, because that in and of itself was a whole nother separationist factor.
And I think like I just started looking at like event spaces and parties as a mode of like celebrating life, because I think that that's probably the place where not every time but sometimes you feel most alive. And most in tune with like the people around you. And most fun, most sociable, like, I don't know, certain parts of yourself come out that like don't come out when you're like not doing that. And that like teaches you something, and that makes you feel less afraid of the world. And that like, you know, also in and of itself like just creates a new energy around you where you understand people like more and like
have a more, like, I guess, a more in-depth connection with people. Especially because when you're partying, I feel like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but you become, in the club, we all fam. Everyone is your best friend literally, when you're clubbing. And that's okay
if it lasts literally that night. And then you'll see each other like the other night, like another time, and it's like, oh, we all fam.
Like, oh my God, hey.
Like, it's literally just, it's just it's a beautiful place to practice like your humanity, I think. So, because no one is there for themselves. Like you're there to like, you're here for yourself to go dance and whatnot, but you're also here to like
fulfill a social need. You know?
And I think it's important that we don't run away from that as our own beings. And like as our own, like as ourselves. And then like you just play with it in a sense. And as long as I can create something that like people can go play, like, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel that was coming here unless it was like December and all of the Joburg parties were here.
December,
and all the Joburg parties were here, and then I was like, oh my days. I'm like, oh my days, let's go out.
Because then sometimes I'm like, should I just go to Joburg? But then I'm like, I don't know if I can survive that city life, man.
Like, it doesn't need to be like that anymore. Especially for raving. I think for raving there just needs to be like a new understanding of I'm busy playing these things. With raving, there just needs to be a new understanding of like, this is for you too, and it's always been for you, specifically by people of color. And that's the main thing that we're trying to get across, is like getting them to understand that this is something they can benefit deeply from. And it's scientifically proven. So
wow, hello, backed by science. Like, are we wrong? No.
Like, literally, it's scientifically proven that raving can actually like literally heal you.
And that makes so much sense, because I think I don't know, yeah. The way that you're moving your body, you're engaging every sense. Like you've got the social need that's there, you've got your friends, like you're able to dance, the music is beautiful, it's transcendental. It's like you said, it's an experience. And that experiences can be healing because it can be so positive, especially in the environment that you want to pioneer. So I definitely see how you're doing like community work, literally community work, which is so important.
Yeah, and I didn't think that my first business wasn't something that like I thought would happen in this kind of way.
Yeah.
But I think I'm really proud because it's almost like it's been something that's been in the back of my brain for years and years and years and years. And I came into the city knowing that like I was here to be a student of life, of the people around me, of my community, and then know like where it is that I fit in that and what I see needs changing. And this is only simply because I fell in love with the city also. And I wanted to be like, okay, I mean, I have this experience, these are the places I've been, these places I've seen, I've had great opportunities in these places. How do I then like make it something that I know is like me just being like, this is the biggest offering that I can give to people out of what I've gathered and learned. And yeah, I'm just really proud that this is like the first thing that I can fully say is like mine. Yeah. Obviously also Tadi's, but I can fully say it's mine because it's not about me. Yeah. And I thought for the longest time that anything that I would create that is of that sense would be almost about me. And I think my music is the part where it's like about me, but with Eurydice, this is about like us. And I think that is something that I've always been like passionate about because I just like love people. And now I get to understand that in like not just only loving people but loving like the medium that I'd be doing it like for us. And there's like a ripple effect. There's so many interests that I have in like life, and I just think that like my love for people, I'm not gonna lie, I really love people. My love for people is just like this like final bit of like understanding, and also my love for joy, like you know, it's just that nod to that innate need of also feeling like myself wanting to have belonged somewhere, and like seeing that need for that space specifically in the city because it is so nice when those spaces are fulfilled, and there are spaces that, and it's a breath of fresh air and you feel safe and it's beautiful, and being able to like do the same, I think it's just like I can say that like, okay, Songo, you did a great job like, there. And then like with my own music, then it's like, okay, now that's me.
You're like, this is about me. I'm gonna take my time and write my songs.
Yeah, literally.
Do you have songs out on Spotify, Apple Music?
Yeah, I have music on Spotify and Apple Music.
Okay, great.
It's Songo Ananda.
Nice. We will link it all down below. Put it in the screen. Like, I have some beautiful music. No, you do.
I think I'm at a different time now. Yeah. As an artist, and I think my music now is like more about
the soul.
I mean, it's not even more about the soul. It's really good music.
Like it's just it's amazing. Listen to it. But it is.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm really surprised with myself, and I've taken my time. Not gonna lie, for a bit, and I don't know if it's overthinking or like what is going on through my brain. But it doesn't feel like overthinking. It just feels like something's not done yet, so I'm just not going to do anything that's unfinished. Okay. But I do need to like catch a roll on.
Yeah, like we need the album, so.
Yeah, it might not be an album, it might just be an EP.
Okay, well, we need it, so release it. You know what I'm saying?
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. I'm not playing anymore. Release it. I'm not playing anymore.
Same, I'm not going to lie, same. Yeah, but like new things are coming, and I'm gonna get to like music is gonna get to be like my life, and I'm just gonna be a woman of many trades. Nice. I don't know, like, you know, Beyonce, babe.
Beyonce. Okay.
Parkwood Entertainment, like Eurydice down.
Like Now.
So yeah, there's so much, man, that I want to play with.
Yeah, I'm excited for you.
I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna do my thing.
Yeah. And then last thing, just to wrap it up, I want to know what you would say, or like what your biggest lesson is, and what you can like give forward to people who sort of want to be community makers, people who want to get into the space but are too afraid to, just because it's not dominated by people like them.
Yeah. I think, man, I don't know. Like,
try your best.
Like, I think you just have to, like, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, you just have to be audacious. I'm very audacious. I get things done. And also I kind of get a kick out of it. You're gonna have to start getting like a kick out of, you know, like
really enjoying
it, and a kick out of finishing, a kick out of just, I don't know. Yeah. It's just me though.
Yeah.
I was just like, I realized specifically with certain things like community building, I think it's just about like knowing where it is that you fit, number one, knowing your intention, number two, knowing your identity in the space, number three. But the advice I'd say with that, literally just fall in love with the process of knowing that this thing is bigger than you, and like coming from a place of like, what is the most loving thing that I can do with this specific thing? What is the most me thing I can do? So always have like the texture of yourself, and like how like you want to feel and how you want to make other people feel, especially if that's specifically good like community stuff, because there's so many things that we forget and are erased from, like, you know, how we want to connect with people. That's with community. It's like what need did I need satisfied, or do I see needs to be satisfied for other people around me, and how can I impact them through that? That's number one. And then number two, I would say that in terms of like the biggest lesson I've learned for myself, outside of lessons, something I've learned about myself is that like I'm extremely driven. So like I will get things done even if it's like messy, and allowing it to be messy, because most times it is messy, but it gets done. And then also like getting a bit competitive with yourself, like literally being in competition with yourself. Like I know it's corny, but like to try outpace the last effort. And even if you don't, you know you would have tried, because you one step forward in getting to the direction and the place you want to get to, because you did it anyway. And then just the biggest lesson is trusting your instinct, trusting yourself, trusting your knowledge, trusting your self-knowledge, and really like applying all of the things that make you in how it is that you formulate your decisions. And if it's coming from a place of like deep love for yourself also, and deep love for other people, I don't think anything can like truly go wrong. And if something doesn't feel like yours, it's okay to like pick it up and leave it again. But when it is yours, you have to like protect it with like your whole heart. And that's also something, it's like really like protecting what's yours with your entire like being, and loving it like unconditionally, because that's a gift. And to be able to like exercise that is like a gift, is like the number one thing that like I would say like is the biggest lesson I've learned. Because often we take for granted all of the ways in which we are like being given things, all the ways in which like God is showing us, like I'm showing you the path, thinking that we need to teeter off and we doubt. But that trust of like, it's what you initially wanted, so it's what you got. And knowing that you got it because you can carry it. And making sure you carry it no matter how long it takes you, no matter how much discipline you have to gain and lack and lose, because it's never consistent. And allowing yourself the knowingness of like, you will see it through at the end of the day, because that's a word you decided to give yourself. I think that's like the biggest like lesson and advice. And then trusting yourself, number one. I think that's a place that I've gotten to, because I've had to like now recalibrate what my music sounds like, and think about it and being like, okay, I am grown now. I'm like a whole 3 years older to when I released my first ever project and like my first music, and like I'm a year and a half older to when I released like Nirvana's Calling even. Like I'm a different person, and there's so much beauty I've created over these last like 3 years of having not stepped away, but like having not done something or released something, that I'm bound to actually succeed in what it is that I choose to release again now. Because it is like got a different perspective, and a perspective that I trust because it's my own, and it's literally like love expressing itself through this like form of art. So trusting that, I think, is like the biggest takeaway and like advice. And loving it.
Amazing. Everyone, click, 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 click. Beautiful. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with me. I've never thoroughly enjoyed a conversation about music before as I have now, especially because usually music heads are said to be men, so we never really get this take from a queer femme, like a Black woman, which I'm really, really excited about. And I'm excited about the work that you're doing and to see how much further you go. And I'm also excited to finally go out again, because I literally have not been out, but I'm gonna come out now.
Please, so come to GIDA. Come to GIDA.
Yes, everyone. Come to GIDA. Like, we will tell you when it is next. It's going to be on my Instagram. It's going to be on Songo's Instagram. It's going to be everywhere.
You get it.
So, yeah, I'm really excited for that. Thank you for coming to this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And then hopefully we collaborate.
Yeah, you know.
Coming soon.
Wink, wink,
Something
wink,
coming
wink,
soon.
Wink, wink. They know.
Thank you so much, guys, for listening, for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day and that you enjoy the rest of the episodes we have lined up. Okay, bye.